it feels great to feel motivated, but motivation isn't an end in itself. And you can have people doing things even if they're not motivated, and maybe they don't like it that day, but in the long run, it's what has to happen to do well at a certain thing. For me, at least, that draws upon the idea that I think is endemic in our culture, that you need motivation, you need some sort of like emotional spark to like get the ball rolling and to do this thing that you think is important to you. And it's like, it feels great to feel motivated, but motivation isn't an end in itself. And you can have people doing things even if they're not motivated, and maybe they don't like it that day, but in the long run, it's what has to happen to do well at a certain thing. So you can imagine being embedded in a system that requires you to practice something or to do something, even if you don't like it, but you'll get better at it. So I imagine, I think about like sports teams, like for youth, and how it's like you just have to show up for practice every day, and probably on average you really enjoy playing basketball or whatever it is, but maybe every single day you're not like super stoked to show up at practice, but you just have to do it because that's what you signed up for. And if you're practicing 5 or 6 days a week, you're going to get better. It doesn't matter if you feel motivated every moment that you're doing it, it just matters that you're doing it. And I think that the progress that you get and the experience of like doing it every day or doing it every other day and having that regularity and having that progress where that you feel you're getting better and you are getting better, like that's motivating. If you get derailed and you stop training for a week or a month or longer, and you feel like you're not making progress and you feel like you've fallen way off of what you were previously, like the level that you used to be at, like that's demotivating. And you could wait for this inspiration where you feel like you really want to go out and you want to go for a run or go for a ride or something like that. But it's like, you don't need that feeling to actually like go out and do a ride or just lace up your running shoes and get out the door. And that's the action of doing the thing is what's actually going to help you get better. And if you are doing it every day or every other day and you're doing your routine and you're building up that momentum and making progress, like that's going to be motivating. So you can't always totally control your emotional experience of like feeling motivated. You could look for certain things that you find as triggers that will help you to be motivated. So like if you have that song that you really love, or you have a scene from a movie that you can like just watch 2 minutes of this movie, like from Rocky or Rudy or any like sports movie that's really inspiring to you, like that could be maybe like a cue to put your brain in a certain headspace that might get you out the door or get you fired up to do a good workout. But ultimately, like that experience can maybe just like get the ball rolling. But it's that training and that regularity, like day after day, week after week, month after month, that's going to actually like get the results that you want. So like if you want to be a great artist, you just have to like practice your craft. If you want to be a great programmer or teacher or athlete, like you just have to show up and do it. And at least for me, I really love training most of the time, but a lot of times I'm not really excited to go out and, feel really uncomfortable for long periods of time. Or maybe sometimes I'm like questioning how much I want to submit to that kind of self-inflicted discomfort. But at least for me, like I have this standard in my head that that's a part of like who I am, and that's a part of what I want to be doing in the world. Because of what it allows me to do. All of that training allows me to go uphill pretty fast and set fast times on Strava, or to do it in races when races are around. And if I don't show up and do the training, I won't, doesn't matter how much motivation I have on the days that I go out, unless I'm going out motivated or not, I'm not going to make that progress and set those standards for myself that I will get if and only if I'm training regularly. So, training and progress and consistency can definitely help build motivation and get results that can create this virtuous cycle of progress. On the other hand, you can enter into a vicious cycle where you miss a few days, you feel like you're losing track, you feel like you're not progressing, and then it can all just go in the trash because you're into the cycle of negative reinforcement that encourages you to stop training. But anyway, to try to boil that down, consistency brings results, and that reinforces the feeling of motivation. Motivation might inspire you to do a training session, but unless you have that constantly all the time, it's not going to bring the results that you're looking for. Motivation doesn't bring results. Consistency in doing the action brings results and also usually yields good motivation, and not the other way around. I don't know, I have a hard time kind of accepting the valuation that some people place on motivation. I think it's an overvalued emotional state that feels good, but it's not what gets the job done. And, anyway, like I was kind of alluding to a moment ago, for me, I have a certain standard that I experience as an athlete. Like I have an identity in my head that I'm an athlete and that I train and I try to be fit and active and healthy and I try to keep getting better. And for me, that gets me up and gets me training and is as I said, helps to establish that routine that gets me going and that yields results. And like I said, I want to be active and healthy and fit. I want to be, have a brain and a mood that contribute to my experience in life and aren't actively sabotaging it by being unclear in my thinking or highly variable in my emotional state. And I have a lot of emotions just like all of us have, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good, or helpful or unhelpful. But for me at least, doing regular exercise and sometimes very intense exercise is very helpful in helping to calm that down a little bit so that I feel like I can be my best self or progress in that direction. And so, for me at least, I want in my head and heart to be clear about what it is that I'm trying to do in life and what it is that I'm trying to do as an athlete, and having a clear vision of what that is helps me to remain motivated even when there are no races, even when I basically, I'm at home all the time unless I'm out riding, and there's a lot going on in the world, and there always is. There's never going to be a time that's everything is easy, and we wouldn't want it to be, because it wouldn't be interesting to have a life where everything was always easy. Even there's a great Twilight Zone episode where somebody dies and he lives in this mansion and there's a casino, but he wins every game. He rolls the dice and he wins at craps. He pulls a slot machine and he wins, and he just cannot lose. And he finds out that he's actually in his own version of hell, because for him, there's a thrill involved with the uncertainty about knowing whether or not he'll win or lose at these gambling games. And you could imagine the same kind of thing being extrapolated to if your life was that way, where everything was always pretty good, it would just get really boring really quick, and you would never be challenged, and you would never be inspired to grow, and you would never be stressed to try to progress and be your best self. And that's the whole thing about training. It's supposed to be stressful. It's supposed to create this immense physical stress on your body so that you can progress and get better physically. And even though there's a lot of negative emotional experience that we have sometimes when we are feeling stressed, sometimes the stress that we experience can be a learning or a growth opportunity. And even though I know there's a lot of negative outcomes, or there's a lot of negative features to the current moment that we have, and will be for the next few years with COVID, there's still an opportunity to grow and get better, or to show up as our best selves in this moment. And for me at least, being athletic and continuing to train and trying to be active and healthy and fit and have a degree of equanimity and trying to cultivate a degree of calm, even in spite of stressful circumstances, is something that I find valuable. And I would encourage you to, think about what it is that you find valuable in all the activities that you engage in, and try to have a balance that works for you, and try to keep doing the things that you get a lot of joy from and contribute to your experience in life. So just because there isn't a race this weekend or next month doesn't mean that you have to stop training, or that there's any less reason to be training. I mean, at the end of the day, those races come and go. There's always going to be new, faster people, breaking your old PRs on whatever climb it is. And that's not the point. The point is that we can, find and create meaning as we do things in our lives. And whatever meaning that is for you, I would encourage you to try to get clear on it so that you can call on it when you need to. And remember that consistency of action is what brings results and also contributes to your experience of feeling motivated. But the feeling of being motivated doesn't necessarily bring results. It's the action of practicing and doing it every day over time that gets us where we want to be going if we're trying to like build skill, learn things, or get fit and go up a mountain fast on a bike or whatever it is that we're trying to work on. I know that was a very long video, and I really hope that some of it was useful to you. Definitely, let me know if this is useful content or contributes to you in some way that you find valuable, or definitely hit me up if you have topics that you want me to discuss. Usually I try to keep my videos much shorter, but this one I just was inspired by an experience that I had on my workout today and extrapolated from it a variety of thoughts and musings that maybe I wanted to share with you. If you happen to have listened this far, hopefully some of that sharing was useful. But I hope that you're doing well and training and staying active and healthy and fit, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.